Hello, my lovelies. So, kind of went MIA, but not purposely. I went to visit my boyfriend out of town, and my car broke down. So, at the risk of sounding dramatic, the voice in my head for a second sounded like it used to. Why? Why is this happening? And then I had to go, you know what? It's happening for a reason. So, understand that sometimes our faith is tested, and it's very hard to think that you could be in a situation to where you're being tested. And I had to keep telling myself to have that little mustard seed of faith, that tiny, so tiny, it's worth going, this is happening for a reason, rather than why. Because it used to tear me down. I would basically just be like rocking in a corner crying, my world is falling apart, I don't know what to do. But when we have faith, doors open, and people actually get to show us who they truly are in our lives. So a lot of trial and error, thought it was one thing, fix that, and that broke right off, and it turns out to be the same thing it was 3 months ago that a company fixed. But beside the point, going back to having that faith, because your car breaking down is just a small aspect of life. And I encourage you, don't sit in the corner and just rock and cry and give up, because it's not the end of the world. Things will get better. You're being asked at that moment to take a breath, calm down, and pray. And know in your heart it's going to be okay. Because that's the first part of something working out for you, is truly believing that it's going to work out for you. If you feel like you're a victim in any aspect of your life, whether it be you've lost your job, and I know that's a hard one, especially when we all rely on that money coming in. If you've lost a relationship, if you've lost a loved one, just a lot of things. We go through these trials in life, and I know a lot of us want to sit and break down. Like I said, I used to be that person, and it was being over dramatic. And one thing I keep saying is, I was made for the stage. That's kind of my way of coping with being dramatic. But at the same time, when it comes to like little kinks in life, the steps that you got to take, it's our spirit, our faith has to be tested and worked, just like when you work out, right? You work out to see the results. The same thing with your spirit. When you, I believe, it's kind of like believing in Santa Claus just to get a present. That eventually wears off, if you're like 25 and you still believe in Santa Claus just to get a present. And sorry if I ruined that for anybody. Santa Claus is very real if you want him to be. But the point of that is, you can't just say you believe in something for it to work out. It's not how life works. I mean, you have to truly believe, because the God, the universe, whatever you believe in, it functions on an energetic field. So when it comes down to you saying, I believe in this, if you're not truly in alignment with that energy, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to people around you. You're basically trying to say you're something that you're not. So you really have to get down to the core of the issue and say, I truly believe because I believe, And after all the stuff I've been through in my life, I do believe. I believe that I'm protected. I believe that I'm divinely guided. I believe that I'm here for a reason. And a lot of us forget that when we're stuck in those traumatic experiences, or we feel like life is beating us down, and even after my car broke down and I slept, I had a roof over my head, food in my belly, money in my bank, the ability to fix it, just a few hours away from where I needed to be. And I even had to call in to work, and I don't do that, but I had to. And I had to tell myself it's going to be okay. And it was, and it is, and it will be taken care of. because I have the faith that it will be taken care of. And in the end, who knows? Maybe I get a brand new car, right? I've never owned a brand new car. So it is what it is. That's kind of the mantra of life that has helped me get through all of these little things. And I remember being in the car with my friend. I had a stick shift, and she had not driven a stick shift in ages. And she goes, "Can I drive?" And I said, "Sure. Do you remember how?" "Yeah, I remember how." She didn't remember how. But anyways, we were going down the toll road, and she's texting her son money and all these transfers while she's driving, and I'm over there just grabbing the door like, oh my God, I didn't get out of an abusive relationship to die. And she's flying down the road, and I'm like, "You need me to drive?" No, I'm good." "Okay, can you watch the road? Do you need me to do that text for you?" Because I have anxiety, or I did at that time. And I just grabbed the door and it is what it is. It is what it is. And we were fine, but we got to a light and we broke down. And I was like, oh my God, she killed my car. It's all I have. She killed my car. But I still love her, and I didn't freak out. And she called AAA. And we're sitting there and trying to start it. And I'm like, it's not dead though. Like, there's power to it. I don't get it. So for about 5 minutes, we're trying to start it, right? And I look at her and go, "Did you push the clutch in?" And she said, "What?" I said, "Did you push the clutch in when you tried to start it?" "Hold on." Car starts, and we die laughing. And she said, "Cancel that tow truck." And I just looked at her and said, "Are you serious? I thought you could drive a stick shift." So there's things in life, the point of that was there's things in life that we forget about sometimes. Like that one little step you have to take. Maybe push the clutch in. Maybe just take a breath and just remind yourself it is what it is. Your stressing is not going to change the situation. It might cause wrinkles. It might let your hair fall out. It might give you heart palpitations. You will actually create more chaos for your body, excuse me, from what your brain is trying to tell you. Your brain is it's reacting to that fear of, oh my God, nothing's going to work out. I don't know what I'm going to do. Why? So don't give in to that, and I've even learned to make that such a joke that my daughter now says, "Why?" and becomes dramatic and then laughs about it. So when we can actually teach ourselves, we can teach our children to start going, it's really not that serious. Because even if you fail a test, right, and you're in school, you fail that test by just a small little margin, instead of going, "God, I'm stupid. I need to try a little harder." But these tests that we take in school allow us to see how hard we're actually working and what we are putting our efforts into, right? Because you can have someone who's really good at sports or their extracurriculars because they love them, and then on the backside, when it comes down to it, they're not applying the effort to the boring parts of life. And we all do that, even as adults, right? We go into work and we're like, oh, you got all these coworkers you're friends with. You pick where you want to go for lunch, and you look for the best parking spot. And when it comes to all the other tasks, it's kind of like, here I am at work. And I'm starting to see this more and more in society. People hate their jobs. And of course, none of us want to be there because money is a motivator, especially in a society that thrives on money. Well, most of us look at the concept that all these companies are making bukus of money, and then we on the backside aren't even getting a smidgen of their turnover, right? So when it comes down to it, we're the worker bees, and we're over here going, why am I not getting something that will help me thrive and survive? I'm over here helping you. So instead of looking at it like that, just consider that you're in a position to maybe help you learn your skill set, to help you build your self-worth, to help you become more articulate, to help you stand up for yourself, whatever it may be, that you're there to learn your value. And the more that you learn it, you build yourself up. It's working that muscle. Because in the sense that when we take less than what we deserve, we're basically tearing ourselves down. And I'm not saying any job is less than any other job, because everything that we have in society, somebody's got to work that job, right? Somebody's got to, excuse me, the weather is lovely. Somebody's got to fill that role. And we can't dictate who does what. And there are some people that have to go to college to know their practice, right? And it's even like with me, I went to college for a while. And I was 2 credits shy of graduating with an Associates of Art and an Associates of Applied Science. And I stopped going because I had kids. And instead, man, the weather going back and forth and the heater on, sorry y'all, I'm congested and having issues. But when it came down to it, I had kids and I was going for early childhood education. So I thought, you know what? I can't get in the programs. I had anxiety. I didn't want to sit in the classroom with the teacher. So I just said, I'll just apply it to teaching my kids. And instead I kept them at home with me and I started educating them. So I did all of these years of study. And the initial part was to go into nursing. And when I got so far, I got pregnant with my daughter and I could not get into the program. They didn't have a waiting list. It was just stuff that held me back. But essentially, in the end, I told myself, I don't want to help people that don't want to help themselves, because I was doing at-home care for a woman that was kind of milking the system and using it. And I didn't agree with that. So I was like, don't really want to do that, because I knew I was going to see a lot of people like that. So, like I said, I just decided to stay home with my kids. But straight off, as I do. So just understand there's often going to be twists and turns in your life that are going to take you places you would have never imagined yourself to be. And it might be broken down on a dark country road in between 2 towns with everyone passing you. Everyone was passing me. And I was really scared, honestly. I haven't been scared in a while. And my car started back up just for a second to let me move forward. And there just so happened to be this house. And I'm around tons of acreage. Like I said, out in the country, no lights, no nothing. And I turned my car off and I'm talking to my boyfriend on the phone. And I was like, I'm not going to lie, I'm actually freaking out right now. And I was like, but luckily there's a house right there. And I was like, unless it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And then I don't know what I'm going to. I started freaking myself out. And I was like, calm down. Just calm down. So he stayed with me on the phone. Baby, I'm on my way to you right now. And I had to sit and wait for over an hour. And he's talking to me the whole way. And as he's talking, I start noticing there's no light pollution. I can see the stars again. I could notice my surroundings. And it's funny how I had to be forced to break down, to sit in the silence with somebody comforting me and kind of get back to nature for a second. And I even said, because I had to go to work with him, which meant I was on the train tracks in a big truck because we were in between trains going, because he works for the railroad. So I actually got to experience something that most people don't. And I said, it's even funny because I've been told for about 2 weeks, get back to nature, get away, reset. And I kept thinking, I don't have the time for this. I'm busy all the time. I made excuses. So while I kept making those excuses, I was forced. And I'm not going to lie, it was awesome to be in that big truck on those train tracks, surrounded by hills and trees and watching the birds and the clouds go by. And it just, I had to be put on hold to breathe again. So just a reminder, don't let yourself be forced to be put on hold to recalibrate, because when it comes down to it, you have the choice. And it's easier to live life, it is what it is, rather than why. Because all you're going to do is tear yourself down. And I know It's really hard. And sometimes we have to be forced to understand that it's really not all in your hands. You can plan all day long. You can plan the greatest vacation, but guess what? You can't predict the weather. So it comes down to, what are you going to make of that moment? And the only thing I can tell you is make the best of every moment. Find the good in the bad. Learn to give praise and appreciate. And when you're feeling down and out, just offer up a prayer. Thank you for that. Offer up a prayer of gratitude instead of save me. Because a lot of times we're being tested to, are you going to beg me to help you? Or are you going to say thank you for what I've given you? Because we all forget the little things in life, you know. And I read something yesterday, and it said, one of those prayers you used to pray has been answered. Take a moment and think about that today. And I thought, you know what? A lot of my prayers have been answered. I was delivered from an abusive relationship. I was allowed to build myself back up. I have been able to support my children on my own for 3 years. And these are things I didn't think were possible. To be someone who doesn't get, and at first, when it first started, I was like, everyone gets child support. Why don't I? Why does everyone else get a house and I can't get approved? Why does everyone get a new car and I don't? You know, the why, the drama. So instead, I had to turn it around and say, you know what? They have what they have because of me. And my boyfriend has been a great motivator to remind me, you're doing this on your own. Take pride in that. Pat yourself on the back. You know, don't keep worrying. We're going to make it through this. And if you find somebody that's that supportive in your life, somebody that will load your car on a trailer and drive you hours away to drop you off, sleep for a little bit to turn around and have to go back to work, hold on to that person. If you have somebody that will sacrifice in every way and help you overcome that trauma, believe them when they say that they care. And I know that's really hard because there's always that voice in the back of your head. That's the devil voice. What do they want from you? Don't believe them. Are you really worth that much? You know, my brain has gone through so many scenarios, and it's taken months and months and months to get me to go, this really is a genuine person that cares. So if you have a hard time trusting people, just sit back, watch their actions, listen to their words, and stop questioning them. And like I said, it's going to take time, but you will easily see the people that are using you for their own personal gain compared to the ones that are here to actually help you on your journey. And those people are few and far between. So when you find a good one in your life, don't push them away, you know, and allow people their space, allow people to go through their own moments. And if they allow you that same right, hang on to them. So, excuse me. So I'm going to leave it at that, and hopefully this helps somebody, and peace, love, and light. Bye-bye. Talk to you later.